All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. To me, Coach Muddle and Sir Pain in the Ass, Nevada Nick. He wanted me to call him Sir, so I just served you
That'll work for today.
for today.
Right. I'll let you know what. With as pitiful as your Giants are, and as pitiful as your record is in picking games, Coach is 0 for 3 in his locks, 0 for the show, I think, and everything else. I'll let you start it off with your Giants yesterday, Coach. Go ahead.
Because they're pitiful. I mean, disrespectful again. How bad the Giants are is, screwing Eli. That's what it is. That's what it amounts to. You screwed Eli. I mean, you trotted that team out there, and here's what I don't understand. The week before you had 10 days to prepare for this team who was a god awful defense, giving up almost 40 points a game in 2 weeks.
Right.
And what did Daniel Jones had a great game on last Thursday night, but you didn't see a lot of QB runs. You didn't see them do the same things they did offensively against Washington, against this Atlanta team. And they went back to, hell, I could, my daughter could have play called there. She knew what was going on. I mean, it's unreal, man. It's bad football. I don't see the Giants getting a win this year, honestly.
I think that's a little overreaction.
Maybe, you know what? And the only game really is the Bears because we have their draft pick. So I hope the Giants win that game so we have 2 top 10 picks for the new general manager. And unfortunately, the new coach. I'm sorry, Joe Judge, we're done. And you got caught in the shuffle with this idiot Gettleman. And I'm sorry. I'm calling the NFL. When are they stepping in? Because that's what had to happen last time for the Giants to get right, is the NFL had to step in. So that's what I'm waiting for. It's just, it's hard to watch. Again, 0-3. What are we going to do? Go 0-6 and then maybe get a win? I mean, look, we got New Orleans next week. I don't see that being a win. I mean, where in the schedule do you see a win? I just don't see it.
Yeah, well, the problem with me was you're 0-2, so you'd hope you'd see a desperate team that played their best football. And, if it was a good team and you played hard and you just lose, I know there's not moral victories, but at least it's the Falcons, who the Eagles beat by 26 points in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Falcons aren't a good football team. Matty Ice, and he went down the field on you guys.
I mean, you're right, down the field. They had a chance to drive down and win the game. They couldn't. They dropped an interception when Atlanta came down to tie the game. And it wasn't like the Giants scored 2 touchdowns because they didn't. They scored 1 touchdown. It was a 2-point conversion and 2 field goals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's garbage. Garbage.
Yeah. All right. Well, a lot to talk about. Obviously, Eagles, huge game tonight.
Huge game tonight.
And, Coach, obviously, you hate to say must win this early, but, Coach, week 3, you go 1-2, and you got the Chiefs coming in next week at 1-2 in Philly, which I don't think they're going to win. I'm sorry. I don't think the Eagles, unless something crazy happens where they do like they did, the Chiefs did yesterday, and turn the ball over 4 times, and the Eagles play above their head. I don't see the Eagles beating the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to pretty much slack them down on the Eagles next week. And I'm an Eagles fan, but I just don't see that as a win. So you got to get that W tonight down in Dallas, especially if you want any hope of the NFC. Dallas plays Carolina next week. Carolina's feeling themselves 3-0, no right. McCaffrey. I think that's a game Dallas probably will most likely win. So then Dallas is 3-1, and you're 1-3. Yeah, Eagles need to get this win. And then, not that you want, you can just accept the loss to Kansas City, but, it'll feel a lot better when it'll win tonight on Monday Night Football. You got everybody's watching it, even the players. That's the thing about Monday night. Right. They always say. So it's a huge game. And the Eagles, the one thing that's frustrated me, and look, Last game wasn't the greatest game for Sirianni. Everybody loved game one, obviously. There was some mistakes where he needs to learn from them. And the one thing the Eagles got to do, utilize Miles Sanders. He's one of the most underutilized. I mean, the guy's averaging like 5.3 yards per rush for his career. We're not talking about in a little part. Yeah, but he's a good player, Coach. He needs to touch the ball.
He's a good player. He does, and I agree with you. But it's
better than Saquon.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
But that number of 5 yards of carry is fictitious because he doesn't have a lot of carries. That's why. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure if he started getting the rock 20 plus times a game, you would see that come down.
But still,
you got to get him there then.
Yeah.
You have to.
He's very productive. And, look, a team like Dallas, that's an explosive offense. So you got to have those long drives, run the ball, use play action, put Jalen Hurts in the right spots, keep that Dallas offense off the field, win the time of possession game. Don't let them get the ball 8-9 times. Limit their amount of possessions because Dallas's defense can be beaten, and and I think we can win it in the fourth quarter. And I think the Eagles are going to win tonight. And that's not just me being a fan. I think with our offensive line, look, and I've said before too, not a McCarthy fan. They got lucky with their win last week. They should have lost to the Chargers last week.
Mm-hmm,
These Cowboys should be 0-2. And I know all the Cowboys fans are happy because they had this great loss to Tampa Bay. But, no, this is a big game. This is I hate to say it, but I think this is a must-win for the Eagles. You want to go down to Dallas and show them, hey, we're here. And I think it announces, too, for once, officially, the NFC East could be running through Philly this year, that we're back, that this isn't going to be that 3 or 4 win team some people were talking about, and that – we're fighting for that NFC East title. So hopefully the Eagles come out and show it to the Cowgirls. Like I said, I'm real curious to see how this game plays out because I felt like, you haven't got to be able to get a barometer on the Eagles. And I know you have that Niners game. But honestly, as crazy as it sounds, they outplayed the Niners. They just made mistakes. And player-wise and coaching-wise, they should have been in that game. I mean, they just made some mistakes. So, I think you're going to get a good barometer tonight of what this team is. So looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm telling you now, I don't need to give my pick later. I like the Eagles plus 3.5. NFC East underdogs. So meaning when an NFC East team is playing an NFC East team, 12-1 last 13. So I love them with the 3.5. I think the Eagles are going to win outright. Can't wait till 8:20 here. It's Monday Night Football, baby. And sadly, no Sunday night games for the Eagles this year because of the season we had last year. But yeah, I think the Eagles can get a win. Who do you like tonight, Coach?
Being a Giant fan, I don't really care, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but maybe have a prediction.
But I think the Eagles can do it tonight. I think they can. See, that's for you and all the Eagle fans out there. I'm picking them just to piss you guys off.
Yeah, 0-3 in his locks. Terrible. So we'll see tonight. But we'll obviously recap the game on Sunday. I don't know if you're doing. I guess you're doing the show Thursday.
I'll be here Thursday. We'll see.
Okay, you think the Cowboys win by 9, Sammy? We'll see, Sam. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys won, but I think if they do win, I think it's going to be close. And if anybody watched yesterday, I called the Raiders-Dolphins game on the point. I said that the Raiders would win by a field goal. I took the Dolphins plus 3.5 for my best bet, my lock of the week. Finally, I hit one, thank God. So did Stiz, although we both kind of did get lucky. So to transition to that, Coach, real quick, obviously, Packers looked much better last night. Offensive line starting to put it together. Rodgers looking more like Rodgers. But I'll tell you, Coach, I really think we're going to see Trey Lance in before the middle of the season. Because once again, Jimmy G in the fourth quarter, I know people say, whoa, wait. He went down and, got him ahead by a point. But the fact is, with 4 minutes left, he had the ball and had pressure and threw it behind himself. And obviously the Packers recovered the ball, and he's like, well, I threw. Well, you can't throw it behind you, Jimmy. You got to throw it forward. When it's behind you, give that full Joe Florida Nevada on a bad run. Not many people are doing good, but Joe only wins. You never hear when Joe loses.
Right.
We'll see, Joe. We'll see tonight. Eagles are going to win tonight, Joe. So then we'll talk. Call me tomorrow because I know you think the Cowboys are going to win. And happy anniversary, buddy. And Joe, I did say the Dolphins would lose by a field goal yesterday, and I called it right on.
And and I said it too because watching that game and them driving, they could have scored a touchdown. They could have just scored the touchdown and been done. But of course, Chucky playing conservative and going for the field goal. I just
Yeah, Anthony, Matt Nagy should have been fired. I mean, it was a joke. They let that kid get killed. I mean, he was under pressure all game. What I don't get, Stiz is saying the same thing. Rough start. Yeah, I mean, it's what I don't get is Nagy started so good, and he had Mitch Trubisky playing really well, and I don't know what's happened. I know their offensive line's not good, but Matt Nagy looks like
your boy's there, isn't he?
Well. What?
Jason Peters, isn't he on the Bears now?
Yeah, Jason Peters, he should have retired 3 years ago. Let's be honest.
Okay. Well,
all right, sounds good, there. Sammy. That works for me, buddy. That works for me, Sammy. Yeah, so but no, back to the 49ers point, Coach. Jimmy G, I really think they're gonna make a change. I mean, look, we all know Trey Lance is the future anyway. Do you really want to go into next year and say this is his first year? I'd let him play at the end of this year. I'd let him get at least 7-8 games in because I think he's going to make him better. Jimmy G is a bum. Yeah, I did like Denver yesterday too. I just was a little worried, Joe, that they might not cover. I mean, the Jets are terrible again. It's unbelievable. That's what Joe said. But no, I really think Trey Lance, Coach, is going to get put in.
I agree.
Jimmy G just can't. When he plays these upper echelon QBs, his mistakes just always show up. And people say, well, they ended up still taking the lead by 1. But if Jimmy G doesn't make that fumble, it's now a 4-point lead, and Aaron Rodgers needs to score a touchdown.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Totally different. I agree 100%. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't been in more already. I thought they would be by now. He would be that guy going into this week. So
right,
but definitely, I don't know when their bye is, but I'm sure by the bye he'll be the starter. And
look, I've gotten beaten by some bad luck too. That Chiefs game yesterday, like I said, there's an example. That 49ers game yesterday, the Niners were on a great drive to go down and go up by 4. And I would have covered by a point, and freaking Jimmy G throws it behind him. It's the things that happen. But it'll turn. It will. And the other thing, too, the Chiefs game. 4 turnovers. You can't handicap turnovers. And then also, too, the Chiefs stopped them on 4th and 9, and they threw it's a tough call to make on 4th and 9 in a ticky-tack play. And they gave the Chargers the ball. But, Andy Reid's got to get that cleaned up. Obviously, Andy went to the hospital last night, but they say he's going to be okay and back coaching. But, the Chiefs, I think there's a lot to be worried about, Coach. That AFC West, I'm telling you, is legit.
Broncos, I absolutely. And who would have thought that we were talking about the Chiefs in last place and the Steelers in last place, considering the Browns and the Bengals are in your division? And, and that's another whole issue we're going to get to is that how bad that is over there in Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's crazy to think that,
Yeah. No, and Joe, you're right. The Chiefs don't have a defense. But what's crazy? The Chiefs are a play from being either 0-3 or 3-0. Obviously, the Browns game, the punt that the punter drops. Last week, against the Ravens, if they don't fumble, they're just kicking a field goal to win the game. And Andy, blew up on them. And then obviously yesterday, a couple turnovers and a bad pass interference penalty. That's a hospital for dinner. Hey, Andy loves his cheeseburgers, man.
Listen. Andy's not missing a trip to Philly. He's probably already got the Tony Luke's. He's already got him shipping over to the team hotel, man.
But Anthony, you know what? I think the Chiefs aren't happy with Nicole Hardman, what he's done, Nicole Hardman. You know what? It can't hurt. And Andy's one guy that understands addiction. Not to be, but that's why I think you see Andy give a lot of players second chances, because obviously, he's dealt with it with his son, and everything ever thought it was okay with his son. And then obviously we had the sad incident before the Super Bowl this year where, I looked like with the DUI and the little girl. Did she end up passing away, Coach?
I don't know. No, she did not.
No, she didn't pass away, but I think she had some
yes, it's bad. It's a bad deal.
Severe. So,
yes, Joe, the Giants are on the clock. We already know that already. You're a little late. You're late to the party, okay?
Yeah, but Joe, the Cowboys should have lost to the Chargers last week. Some of those calls, man, that illegal.
Yeah, come on, in the grass. Who calls in the grass anymore?
In the grass.
Come on.
But hold on. The one time when they said that the lineman downfield, he was a half a yard pass. They never throw that flag. The Cowboys got some really good calls last week. Cowboys should be 0-2. So, I don't know, Stiz. If it's weed, you can smoke weed now. If it's something else, I'm going to go 2.5 games. And probably I would go under still. Yeah, Joe, both New York teams are a joke.
Yeah.
Jets and the Giants. All right, Coach, there's one for you. Who's worse, Giants or Jets?
The Jets.
Yeah. All right.
The Jets.
I was going to,
Come on. Look, wait. And here's the funny part, because, and I always look at it, the Giants, as a Giant fan, and if you're in my age group or, or younger, I guess, the Jets have always been a dumpster fire. They have always been. I mean, there was those flashes in the early 80s and then the late 90s where they were okay, but they're always been a dumpster fire. And look at Sam Darnold. Case in point. They said all the same things they said about Sam Darnold with the new kid Wilson, and Wilson's worse with more talent.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. And Joe, the one thing I'll say, you're right, go get defensive help. But I'll tell you this, Chiefs ain't making a Super Bowl. They'll still be in the playoffs because that offense is so explosive. But you think it's bad now. Wait till Mahomes' contract kicks in and he's, 45, 50 million a year. The Chiefs are just going to get worse. And that's why I love, everybody said the Chiefs were going to win, 4 or 5 Super Bowls. I said, go get that second one first, then come talk to me. Then we can start talking about a dynasty once you get 2. But, it goes down quick. Look at the Eagles. They're a prime example. We thought we were going to have this good team with Wentz and, have multiple Super Bowls. It goes quick. And, it's just how it is. I mean, look at the Niners. They've had, obviously, they're hoping to bounce back this year, but the Packers laid one on them yesterday. So, now, Coach, obviously yesterday, huge game, Rams, Buccaneers. Rams look really impressive.
They do.
I do think the Bucs were missing AB and a couple guys, 2 of their top 5, in the secondary. So I do think that factored in. But, man, Matthew Stafford, very impressive. Rams, really impressive. Right now, look like the cream of the crop in the NFC.
I have to agree. I think that was kind of a preview of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I agree. And we could see a rematch come in January. Yeah,
Coach, I really believe it's 3 teams. And I'll admit, I had a week 1 overreaction. I looked at the Packers, and I thought it was over. But I think it's 1 of 3 teams in the NFC. I do agree. I think it's Bucs or Rams. But if there's one team that can do it, it's the Packers. I overreacted on the Packers after 1 week. Did that line starting to play together? That center they drafted, Josh Myers, is playing really well. And let's not forget, once they get Bakhtiari back in about a month, who's one of the best left tackles in football, that's going to really solidify that Green Bay Packer team. Where I don't love them is that defense always seems to let them down in the big games. So I'm obviously going to lean Rams, Bucs because of the defense. But, Coach, Bucs defense has got to that defensive line just did not get pressure on Stafford yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're going to wonder, Coach, we knew about the age on that defensive line. Did it just get old, with JPP and Sue? I mean, obviously, Vay up the middle is a young guy, but just not much pressure coming from the defensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like the Giants can't get no pressure, man. They can't get pressure on a paper bag right now. So, but yeah, it is. They're going to have to find somebody to step up to get some pressure because obviously they're not, or Todd Bowles going to have to start figuring out some creative ways to get pressure on the quarterback, So it'll be interesting to see.
And that's what's great. You know it too, Coach. The Giants lived on it in the early, the 2010s when you can just get pressure with your front four and don't have to blitz.
NASCAR package,
the NASCAR package, right? It is such an advantage, and that was what Tampa Bay's advantage is. And now, obviously, it looked like they're going to have to go other ways and start sending some blitzes. Because that defense now has looked bad for 3 weeks, and Stafford took basically picked them apart yesterday. And I'll tell you, our boy Sean McVay, boy, was he fired up. Did you see him before halftime going nuts? Did you see that?
No, I just saw him doing the Chunky's commercial.
Chunky's commercial?
the Campbell's Chunky Soup commercial.
Oh, okay. But, yeah, I mean, and then when you go out in the AFC, honestly, I said yesterday I still thought it was Chiefs and Browns. I'm going to revise that now. I think it's Bills and Browns. I really do. Bills with an impressive win yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Browns get the job done in Cleveland. But, yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs are a mess. I actually think the Chiefs, they might be in a dogfight for their division because the Raiders are better. I don't know if the Raiders are – I think the Raiders are a playoff team. But, they've played 3 subpar offenses. I mean, we see what Pittsburgh is now. Right. Another game I called yesterday, I called the Bengals outright. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to jump on me, but I did have winners too. But we see what the Steelers are. You know what I mean?
And look, Big Ben is terrible.
Yeah, Miami's offense is not good. And, Brissett still got 25 points on him. And then, obviously, the first week they beat the Ravens, who were one-dimensional. And, you saw them. They struggled with the Lions. So, we're going to see a really good next Monday where the Raiders are because they play the Chargers on Monday night in L.A. We're going to get a good barometer of where the Raiders are next week, week 4. But I think the Broncos, and I know you can make the same argument about the Broncos that they haven't played anybody, but, man, they're dominating. They're dominating. They really are.
Broncos, they played the Jets and the Giants. That isn't, I could find a couple of high school teams here that dominate those two teams too. Let's be serious.
No, I understand. But I think, Coach, that defense is better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think look, like I said, we definitely need to see more from both the Broncos and the Raiders. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's going to be interesting. Like I said, next week we're going to see a lot about both. Denver's at home against Baltimore, so that'll give us a little, tell us something about them. And like I said, Vegas is at the Chargers, so that'll tell you something about them. Because I do still think that Vegas secondary has holes. I love the front seven.
And they got hurt. They got banged up yesterday. Really late in the game, they got banged up. One of the guys got walked off the field into the locker room, and I don't think Merring, I think it was the
Merring, yeah.
Merring, yeah. So we'll see. But
I'll tell you, Max Crosby, man, I love that guy. The motor on him, he always plays hard. I think he's one of the guys early on that, defensive player of the year. That's how good he's playing. He's had a major impact on every game. So, and then obviously next week, I can't wait till Sunday night next week. Bill versus Brady, baby. You ready?
Hey, now wait a second, everybody. I didn't I say that though? You get on me. I said how I'm thinking New England might overlook New Orleans, and I mean, did I not say yesterday? I didn't pick the game, but
I don't think it was. You said it was a trap game. I don't think that was a trap thing. I think that was. New England played poor. They turned the ball over. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys never played against Brady. But I'll tell you that that's going to be – get ready because my lock of the year is going to be this weekend. My lock of the year is going to be this weekend.
All right. I did think that though. I really was leaning towards New Orleans, but I thought for sure for Eli it was an easy. But God forbid the Giants do anything easy because they can't.
Right.
Until the NFL steps in, and takes friggin' control because they're terrible. John Mara, I think he should be checked for Alzheimer's or some shit. But Dave Gettleman must go. Fire Dave Gettleman. So.
Now, Anthony, I don't know. I think a lot of people think Stafford for MVP. I mean, last week, Brady, was getting all the talk because of the 9 touchdowns. But after, last week, I think Stafford right now, I mean, it's only 3 weeks in, but Stafford probably would be the MVP. I don't know, Stiz. I mean, I don't know that anybody can fix that Bears situation. But at the same time, I don't want to hurt Justin Fields. I mean, you should have seen some of the plays. It was horrible. I mean, this guy had no time. I mean, you know how it is when you wreck a quarterback's confidence, a la Carson Wentz. It's not good. So I almost wonder if you. I agree, Anthony. I almost wonder if you put Justin Fields on the bench and just let him sit because how are you going to have success with that team? And especially Nagy, he did nothing to try to help him out early. One pass in the first quarter. I mean, it was a disgrace. Yeah. I mean, he was set up to fail. But how about that Ravens game? Man, talk about – and I had the Ravens in the survivor pool. 66-yard field goal. I feel bad for the people in Detroit. Could you imagine?
Yeah, but I didn't see this. Obviously I was traveling the early game, so
right.
But they said there was a penalty. The refs missed a penalty on that.
Technically, they did. So what happened was, they had to delay a game. So it should have been 5 yards back, and I don't think they had timeouts. So I think it should have been the 10-second runoff. So it would have been the end of the game. But you know what, too? That's tit for tat. I mean, look, the Ravens made a mistake, too. How Sammy Watkins doesn't know run out of bounds?
Right.
I can't believe it. You have no timeouts. And he could have easily ran out of bounds. And he doesn't. And I'm just like, that kills me when a professional doesn't know situational football like that. I mean,
absolutely. At any level as a coach, it kills you when you don't understand guys don't understand the situation of what's going on, and I think more of that irks me more is not getting out of bounds is the guy when you need to stay in bounds.
Right.
Stay in bounds, just take a knee and instead they run out of bounds, stop the clock. It does. It's tough.
Coach, another one that was terrible yesterday, and I knew it right away. And this is why I like the team. I don't like the coach. And I'm telling you, they're going to have a ceiling because the coach is going to fuck it up for them eventually. And that's the Cardinals. 68-yard field goal before the end of half, and then the guy takes it and runs it back. And you know what? That's how you're going to lose games. Yeah. You got lucky. It was against the Jaguars. But those are decisions that will cost you games in the future.
Yeah, what were you? I don't understand. What were you thinking at 68? Just it's halftime. You don't, just chuck it to the end zone. Then at that point,
Plus, Coach, we saw it obviously in the Auburn Alabama game. The biggest problem is too, Coach, is once it's short, you got all fat linemen like me out there trying to chase those speedy guys.
Right.
My cousin chimed in 22 passing plays there. 5-man front with no one back. Yeah, that's terrible. Nah, he's done. And he was one of the guys that me and Coach said should have never came back this year, just like our other one, Zimmer. And I still think Zimmer, he had a win yesterday.
Yeah, surprise.
Fired by the end of the year. Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing me and Coach said. We said 3 things. Big Ben should have never came back. We were right. Nagy should have never came back. We were right. And obviously, the last one being what other coach? Oh, Zimmer.
Zimmer,
and we will trust me. We will be proven right about that one too with the Vikings.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now,
And it's just kind of crazy with Big Ben. I mean, and you feel bad. The guy's won Super Bowls. I mean, and you want to be able to see the guy walk away on his own. And now you're going to wind up forcing the Steelers to bench, the face of the franchise for the last.
They bench him though, you think?
Years. They got to. Come on. You got to. Dwayne Haskins is an upgrade right now. Yes, I said it. Dwayne Haskins is an upgrade from Roethlisberger. Come on. He's like a statue back there, though.
Coach, you know what's a shame? I really think with a guy like Nick Foles, they might be able to win. That's a good defense there. I know the line's not great, but they have some playmakers on the outside. I mean, Big Ben can't play football anymore.
Right.
And you know what? And that one's on. I don't know how much pull Tomlin has, but that's on the organization. They should have said, but you know what, too? Ben's greedy. Ben talked about how he took $5 million less so they can make the better team while he's still making 30-some million. Ben wanted to get another paycheck. When Ben should have known, you could see it at the second half last year. They're done. Yeah, they're I agree. Yeah, Dwayne Haskins isn't much either, and I don't think.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. And listen, Haskins is obviously bottom of the barrel, but I mean when you're saying Haskins is an upgrade,
yeah, I think Cam's an upgrade too. I don't know how good Cam would do, but it's interesting. But, Coach, it's interesting because, the Patriots didn't have many weapons around, though, last year, too. I mean, but like I said, Foles or Cam, I'd like to see what they could do because there's pieces in Pittsburgh. You got a top 5 defense. Right. You have some receivers on the outside. The problem is holding on to the ball, and you can't throw the ball down the field anymore.
Yeah, but my point is in the season, if you make a move for Foles or Cam, then you're really saying Roethlisberger, at least if you go with the rookie or
So
but wait a second, you go with the kid. Yeah, you put in Haskins.
Nice?
You put in Haskins
at least. Super Bowl MVP and bench him, I'd feel better. You put in Dwayne Haskins, and that's the nice thing for Ben. You got that bum who doesn't even know.
Wait a second, Ben's arm is hurt or something. So I mean, this is that segue, So
maybe the Colts.
It's not. I don't think it's too late, Dave. I don't think it's too late.
Maybe the Colts can dump Wentz to the Steelers. Because honestly, and I really believe this, if you put Frank Reich under a lie detector test, he would fail if he said he didn't regret the Carson Wentz decision. And that's only 3 games into the season. But I think he would. I mean, look, the guy's hurt. They're 0-3. And Carson, he wasn't 100% yesterday. I give him credit for at least trying.
Right.
But can you believe, Coach, the Colts are 0-3?
Yeah, who would have thought that? I mean, they won 11, 12 games last year. I mean,
now they had a rough schedule. Don't get me wrong, but man, like I'm really. This is going to be really interesting to see what happens in Indianapolis because if they don't make the playoffs and it's a disaster, are they going to cut bait on Wentz after year 1? And then what happens to Wentz? If they cut bait on him, is Wentz now a backup quarterback? Like, talk about in 4 years you go from MVP candidate to a backup QB. I mean, it's pretty.
Or even are you even in the league?
Yeah, somebody will keep giving him a chance because you see all that talent. But I really and look.
Yeah, but can he handle that?
Right,
he might not be able to handle taking the bench role. Yes, we know about that, but I think being in Pittsburgh with Ben, I think it kind of humbled him a little bit. And I mean, give the guy a shot. I mean, for a couple of games at least until you figure it out, you got to do something because Cam or Foles isn't going to come right in and play. You got to learn the playbook a little bit. So at least give the kid a chance. You got Najee Harris.
He doesn't know the playbook, but
you got Najee Harris behind you, can take a lot of pressure off. I'm just
Dwayne
saying.
Haskins sucks. All right. I mean, let's just be honest.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that, man.
All right.
I'm just saying, give the guy a shot. It's the best you can do because Roethlisberger's horrible.
Well, exactly. This is why you go get Nick Foles or Cam. But back to Wentz. I just don't think Wentz can ever adjust, and it's a shame because the kid, he's a smart kid, and like you know me, man, I went down with Wentz to the end. I did. I was on the Wentz train to the end, and I was one of the last guys to jump off ship. And he just can't. I've never seen somebody who can't get out of their own way. Like he can't just go on to the next play. He always needs to try to be Superman and do all these crazy things and play so aggressive instead of sometimes saying, you know what, this play didn't work, on to the next play. I mean, you saw it with, spraining 2 ankles and, he tries too much and then takes sacks. He does it and then throws interceptions. He just keeps doing it, and it's just not a way to win football. And you'd think he would realize that, and he just doesn't seem to realize it. And I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year, but Carson Wentz's career, I can't believe I'm saying this, but his career is really on the brink right now. I mean,
I agree 100%. I do. Now here's something I'll throw out there for my Giants family is, I wouldn't mind taking Nick Foles, bring him in, let him play quarterback, and until we can build the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Let Foles come in for the next 3 years, build that offensive lineup, and then let's find a quarterback. And I understand that, the outside people aren't going to be there, but they're not going to be there anyway. Giants ain't paying anybody.
Well, that's what surprises me, Coach. Foles is just sitting as a third. He's not in Chicago.
Right. He's not even active. He's not even active.
I mean, right. Like, there's so much bad quarterback play out there. You'd think somebody would just give him a shot, even in Indy. And I think Indy's so scared to upset Wentz's feelings because Wentz is hurt. You know what? You need to IR him. IR them. How about the Dolphins? The Dolphins have talent.
But I thought Jacoby Brissett played well yesterday. I did. I thought he
didn't. The yards per attempt was bad, though, Coach.
Better than 2.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
All right.
Let's see what this is. See how many NFL weeks until Coach takes back his Giants hat to the store and knows the bark on his All right, so they're 4-3.
I still got the tag on it. I do.
If they get to 0-5, and Coach is cheap too, so that's very, very possible.
Absolutely, it's possible. Absolutely.
And real quick to my cousin, let's talk some NHL real quick. Let me know who you think. Are you still on that Colorado train this year? Are you again think they can win the Cup? They're the Vegas favorite to win the Cup. Flyer, and I'm curious to see what you think about the Flyers this year too. What they're going to do because they made some moves in the offseason and tried to shore up that defensive. And obviously the biggest thing with the Flyers is going to be, can we fix Carter Hart? Because if they can do that, I think the Flyers would be okay. But a lot of question marks with.
Watch out for the Rangers. That's all I'm saying. Even though they looked horrible last night against the Islanders, but it's only preseason.
Looks this, and he's right. That is a great prop bet. All right, so Coach, baseball before we go out.
Yeah, how about those Yankees, man? Having to come into Boston and take 3 out of 3, and absolutely did, And
it's a shame because the Phillies too take the 3 of the 4 from the Pirates, Coach. But I think that one last night's going to cost them because last night if they win yesterday, it's 1.5. So if you go and win 2 of 3 against Brady, you're all a half a game back. And then you got a 3-game series. And then if they would have been a half a game up on them still, they would have had to play Colorado on Monday. So there's a chance. You know what I mean? And they're playing the Mets who stink. But still, you never know. It's baseball. You know how it goes, Coach.
Right.
You never know. So I think that one yesterday is going to hurt the Phillies unless, obviously, they go down to Atlanta and sweep them. And I think they got a chance in the game Wheeler's pitching and the game Suarez is pitching. But I believe Nola's going against Fried. And Fried went down to San Diego and threw a freaking 9-inning complete game shutout last Friday. He looks on point. So I think that's going to be the tough one. I think the Phillies got a chance in 2, but I don't see them sweeping the Braves. So I think the Phillies will end up coming up short. but I do like where the Phillies rotation's at. I love Ranger. I love Wheeler. I like Gibson in the rotation. If they think they can fix Nola, try it, or if not, trade him. Because I'm not a big Nola guy. I think he's underperformed the last 2 or 3 years. But yeah, I do sadly think the Phillies will come up short. But give credit to Bryce Harper because he's had a hell of a year, Coach. 430 on base percentage, 35 home runs. I know they talk about the RBIs, but this is a guy who 76% of his home runs have been with nobody on. So that's not his fault. People haven't been getting them, on base in front of them. That's why I think they need to get him a bat. They got Carlos Correa to get people in front of him that can get on base. You got Gene Segura, you got JT, and then we need another bat, and then we need to get a whole damn bullpen because 34 blown saves again is a disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely.
All you need to do, look, we're 2.5 games back. If they just had 29 blown saves, which is a disgrace, they'd be up 2.5 games. Right. So I mean, come on, and it's just a shame. We knew we had bullpen issues last year, so we should have fixed them. We didn't. So, Coach, I take it obviously you think your Yankees now are sitting pretty to get that wild card.
Well, we've taken over the top spot for the wild card as
big series against Toronto, though.
Big series. It's huge. It's not over because the Yankees had the hardest schedule in the last 9 games as far as playoff teams went.
Right.
A's, Jays, Red Sox.
Well,
so
you still got a huge series against the Blue Jays that you need to get.
Yeah. Yes. This is the big one, and I think now that the Rays have clinched, I think the Yankees will be able to, at least maintain and against Tampa. But this is a big series. This is a playoff series here.
And what's crazy is, so one of those teams is going to have to be basically it's going to be ALS wildcard game. It's going to be Yankees, Toronto, or Boston. That's going to be that's how good the AL East is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think I think Toronto gets the short end of the stick. I know you like them,
I do,
but they got to play the Yankees, and if the Yankees can win here,
getting in was going to be the hardest part for them. If they get in, watch out. That was and it's going to be tough. They need to go win some games. They had a tough loss to Minnesota that you can't let happen. You need to get that game, and it's going to hurt them. Now they got to go. They got to go play ball on the Yankees, and I think they need to bare minimum take 2 of 3. But I think a sweep might even be better. So
right. Yeah. The Cardinals are on fire, man.
And Stiz, that's one thing I'll say. Nevada Knicks had them the last 7 times. I bet them the last 7 games. So yeah, they're on an unbelievable streak, and that's what's crazy, Coach. So the Dodgers or the Giants, whoever it is, ends up being that wild card, is going to have to play the hottest team in baseball. So you're going to go win 105 games and then basically have to play the hottest team in baseball in a 1-game playoff with, my guess, Adam Wainwright starting.
Right.
So think about that. That's going to be crazy. And it looks like right now Giants go into the last week with a 2-game lead. So, and that's another team too. Everybody doubts the Giants. I think the Giants are a really good shot at the World Series. I know that they got the best record in baseball, but everybody doubts them and just says it's going to be the Dodgers. That Giants team has pretty much had it. And, Coach, you know what they were to win the World Series this year? 80-1.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know. And that's the other thing that scares me. Honestly, I'm scared they're going to sweep the Braves and then go lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins. That would be the Phillies. They'd sweep the Braves and then go lose 2 or 3 to the Marlins. So.
Absolutely. So it's big. Yankees are off tonight. They get a rest before they go to Toronto for that big 3-game set. So we'll see. We'll have a lot to talk about, or I'll have a lot to talk about on Thursday. Right. Okay. So and we'll see who if anybody wants to stop by Thursday night. Otherwise, it's me flying solo again, which we had a blast.
Playing by himself, what he's used to.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to. So
Yeah, it is.
So, all right, you done? You got anything else you want to hit?
I'm good, buddy.
All right. Listen, everyone, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate everyone who participates and everything. So please share it with your friends, like our page, ring the bell, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. We'll be safe. Enjoy the game tonight, and go Giants. And we'll see you guys Thursday.